As the calendar turns to October, we are officially upon spooky season in the NFL. A couple guys that were already out of the mix, like Cooper Beebe, CeeDee Lamb, Tyler Booker, remain injured as they look to come back to this Cowboys fold. But more and more guys start to show up on that injury report as you see Tyler Guyton, Malik Hooker, Kevontae Turpin, and Tyler Smith all show up in the injury report here in Week 5 of the NFL season. The Cowboys having to sift through some key injuries to starters on this roster. Welcome into Special Edition here from the Star in Frisco in the Globe Life studios alongside Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Youmans. And since it is spooky season, gentlemen, I'm especially scared of what the offensive line has to go through right now. There are 4 of the 5 starting offensive linemen popping up on the injury report. Nate, I know that's never a good thing. What is the state of this Cowboys O-line?
It's in flux right now, but I tell you what, all of these guys had reps in training camp, in OTAs. And I know it's not live fire, but all of these guys have played well. Nate Thomas can play left tackle and right tackle. Now we're just going to have to see can he dance with the Bears out there at left on a continuous basis. But I think we should be all right.
Yeah, listen, Terrence Steele obviously is the man of steel right now because he's the only remaining man that's standing strong. But these guys have had reps, as you just mentioned, and these guys are taking care of business offensively. The running game is looking good. The passing game, Dak's at the top of the league, and you have one of the top offenses. You just have to continue to do so. The productivity should remain the same, and luckily this week you don't have to worry about no big threats on the edges.
Yeah, for me it's becoming a little worrisome. What you say, 4 of the top 5 offensive linemen are injured out there, and so far they've been able to hold down the fort. They've been playing well as a unit, but for me, is that sustainable? I mean, we've tapped into the depth offensive line-wise, extreme so far in this season. Can they sustain that going forward against some of these fierce defensive lines that they're going to have to go against? Only time will tell.
Now, it's not the only frightening thing about this Cowboys team through 4 weeks of the season. Yes, they had the tie 40-40 against the Green Bay Packers, so that tie at the end of the record's pretty frightening. The defense has been a bit of a jolt as well. They have not played well. Another 40 points allowed to Green Bay this week. When you look at the defense, Barry, is third down the main issue? Green Bay was 10 of 14 on third down. Where do you start if you're the Cowboys defensive unit?
Defensively, you got to start winning on first and second down. I mean, what we've seen so far from this defense is that these teams are in third and manageables. I'm talking about 3rd and 5s, 3rd and 6s, and that's when the offensive playbook is wide open. If you're winning on first and second down, you get more into those 3rd and 10s, 3rd and 12s, and that kind of minimizes the playbook offensively. But even more than that, these explosive plays, it doesn't matter if you're 3rd and 15. If you're giving up so many explosive plays to opposing offenses, down in and down out, you're going to get exposed, and that's exactly what's been happening for this Dallas Cowboys defense.
Well, the reason why these explosive plays are happening in BC is because of the fact that you don't have a pass rush.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it comes from the form of the defensive line getting there or the second level. I don't even care to send a cornerback in there. But you have to find a way to get some pressure on these quarterbacks. Dallas is at the bottom of the league in terms of quarterback pressures right now, and that just can't remain that stat line.
You have to, with this team here, you have to be at least 7 yards after first down. Have to be 2nd and 7, 3rd and 10. You have to be on the long distance deal because we don't have the talent at linebacker, at safety. So we're always pressing right there. So when they just scheming up. Wherever our linebackers at, wherever our safeties at, they're attacking that. So we have to be in very long distance after first down.
And you got to tackle better.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the main thing for me when you look at this, whether it's the defensive line, the second level, you talk about the secondary, all this arm tackling, it's just not going to work. We saw last week what Josh Jacobs was able to do once he cracked through that defensive line. These explosive plays happen because of bad tackling. So this defense, to me, has to get back to the basics, back to the fundamentals, and that should right the ship a little bit, but explosive plays, that can't happen.
But as a safety, right, a successful safety, can you get better at tackling now that the season's here?
You got to get better at it. I mean, I don't know how you do it, whether you practice it, during a week, form tackling, whatever the case may be, getting your feet right, but all this lunging and hitting with your eyes down and arm tackling, it's leading to too many explosive plays, and this defense is not able to overcome it.
Brian Schottenheimer earlier in a press conference this week did say they can practice tackling with dummies and different things, just not against other people at this point. So it's limited action in practice. Thomas, if there was one bright spot for the Cowboys defense, it's the way they've played against the run game. And it starts with the defensive tackles up front, Nate. I know you've been impressed with what Kenny Clark, Solomon Thomas, Osa Odigizua have shown in the game action so far. Is that the biggest bright spot on that defense team?
It is. I mean, we traded for Clark, and he's been everything that advertised. But we need for Osa to be a little bit better and the other guys to be a little bit better. And our linebackers got to come down and feel a little bit stronger.
Yeah, I mean, I like the second level right now. I like the guys getting off the ball on the inside. Kenny Clark has obviously had a huge impact. But again, I think these guys need to get more penetration, especially when you start facing some of these teams that have zone schemes offensively. The defensive line can have a tremendous impact on the success of your ability to stop runs.
Yeah, I've liked what I've seen with the interior guys. Kenny Clark is a guy that he's exactly who we thought he was going to be when he came from Green Bay, but I've been pleasantly surprised by Solomon Thomas. I mean, this guy, whatever he's coming in depth-wise, rotation-wise, he's been able to provide a spark on that interior defensive line, and we see it pay dividends for this Dallas Cowboys defense.
Solomon Thomas, former New York Jet, and that's who the Cowboys play in Week 5. He'll play against his former team and against Justin Fields at quarterback, another mobile option behind center that the Cowboys defense has to face. When we come back on Special Edition, later in the show, we'll have Stephen Jones one-on-one. But right after this, we go to the film room. Isaiah Stanback breaks down what has made Dak Prescott special in 2025.
Special Edition, presented by AT&T, is brought to you by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Reliant, official energy provider of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. And by AT&T. Connecting changes everything. This segment is brought to you by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas.
Dropping a lot of safeties in. There are going to be some chances down the field.
That got rid of it. Here's Pickens inside the 10. Pickens to the goal line. He's in for the touchdown.
George Pickens with an unforgettable moment on Sunday Night Football. The touchdown put the Cowboys on top ahead of the Green Bay Packers. It would ultimately end in a tie, 40-40 in Week 4. But the guy who got Pickens the ball, Dak Prescott, has been playing at an unbelievable level so far this season. Isaiah Stanback, let's go to the film room. Tell me, why is Dak an MVP caliber candidate with his play so far?
Well, it's all about his knowledge and his ability to diagnose what the defense is doing and then put his team in the most advantageous position to go out there and have a successful play. Let's take a look at it last week as they were facing Green Bay. This dude took care of business. Now, right off the bat, as a quarterback, the first thing you want to do is identify the safeties, okay? What is going on in the secondary? Once you're able to diagnose where the safeties are at, then you can start manipulating the defense to get a better understanding as to what is the coverage. So you're going to see them motion Javonte Williams out there to the outside. Now, what is Dak looking for when that happens? He wants to know, is this linebacker going to go ahead and bump out and line up man-to-man with Javonte? Or is they just going to bump over? If they simply just bump over, then Dak knows that this man is no longer playing, he's no longer playing just a man-to-man, he's playing zone. So once he is able to diagnose that, now he comes up here and now you're going to see Dak hard count. Right now, Dak is hard counting the defense. He understands that it is some form of a zone defense. He sees two safeties high right now, but he needs to know, is this going to be a two-high defense or is it going to be a single-high defense? So Dak comes up to the line of scrimmage. He hard counts. When he hard counts, you guys see him, hut, 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 hut. Now he's walking to the line of scrimmage and he's communicating. What is he saying? He's saying that this safety right here is a little bit too low to be playing a too-high shell. He has walked down a little bit. This safety is back. So Dak has the confidence in mind right now to believe that this is going to be some form of a cover 3, most likely with this guy playing off, with this safety going back, with this guy playing off and having 4 guys underneath. That is most likely going to be the coverage. So Dak is now trying to put them in an advantageous position. He is changing up exactly what the route schemes are. So he's telling Javonte Williams, go out here to the flat. He's telling Ferguson, come right here in the middle, and I want you to split the difference in the responsibilities between this linebacker and this guy right here, this underneath cover guy. And then he's sending a couple other guys out along the way. He doesn't really care about this side because he's really working the man right here, which is going to be George Pickens, to run what we call a corner post. Why does he feel confident about that? Because he understands in cover 3, this man has that area. This safety, who is on a completely wrong hash, has this entire middle right here, but he's all the way on this right hash. It's too much for these guys defensively right now based upon where their responsibilities are. So right now, Dak is going ahead and communicate what's going on, alert, alert, change all the routes. I'm telling you guys what to do up top. And now he's going to put all the stress on this corner up top. He's going to put all the stress on the corner at the top of the screen, and he's also going to put stress on this safety that's too far away to make an impact. He's going to call this corner post. You guys are going to see George Pickens right at the top of your screen, right around the 10. Boom, he's going to stem it out. And when stemming it out, he understands that the responsibilities alone, this man can no longer get across his face. This man is too far away. And this is going to be a touchdown for Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. Let's go ahead and see it play through. Drive the ball right in that open space. That is what Dak Prescott is doing. He understands the defense. He understands his offense and exactly how to have a positive play.
He is reading the defense. He is seeing the defense like a young Isaiah Stanback was early in his career playing the quarterback position. Dak Prescott at an unbelievable level at the moment. The Cowboys are looking for their first road win against the New York Jets since 2003. You know who was last offensive coordinator for the Jets when they were in the playoffs? It was one Brian Schottenheimer. What was happening the last time the Jets made the playoffs? We'll talk about it next.
This segment was brought to you by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. This segment is brought to you by the NFL Fan of the Year, presented by Captain Morgan.
The last time the New York Jets were in the playoffs, Brian Schottenheimer was the offensive coordinator. Mark Sanchez was the quarterback. Some other things that were happening. Current Dallas Mavs guard Kyrie Irving was winning a national championship at Duke. TikTok wasn't an app. It was a hit song that was at the top of the billboards from Kesha. And the iPhone 4 had just been released back in 2010. Steve Jobs, rest in peace, Steve. As Barry, what were you doing back in 2010?
I'm not sure what I was doing, but don't quote me on this. But I might have actually had hair back then.
Oh.
All right, I'm talking about 360, spinning all around, fresh lineup. Don't quote me on that, but I think I had hair back
We're going to have to find some proof.
Yes,
Find the receipts, as they say. Hey, how about that? It's been a long time since the Jets were in the playoffs. They're trying to get back there again this year. Not a great start. 0-4 under first-year head coach Aaron Glenn. But there are still some strengths to this Jets team that the Cowboys have to keep an eye on. Isaiah, I will start with you. What are you keeping your eye on when this matchup comes to fruition on Sunday?
Well, the next man up has taken place. You talk about George Pickens stepping into the fold, replacing CeeDee Lamb as the number one receiver for the Cowboys. He has to go across to New York and face Sauce Gardner, which is their number one guy, their big payday cornerback who loves to follow and play man-to-man. He is going to be in the hip pocket of George Pickens. He wants to be lent in his pocket everywhere he goes. Doesn't matter if he's on the left side, the right side. He's going to be physical at the line of scrimmage, and he is going to try his best to disrupt the timing and the effectiveness of George Pickens in this offense.
Well, my guys, Kenny, I don't know how to pronounce that. It starts with a QU, but it's Quentin Williams, number 95. He plays over and under in their defense. He plays over both guards. Passing situations, he plays over mostly the left guard. This dude is a beast. Nowhere number 95 is. He makes plays all over the field. 6'3", 303 out of Bama. He's just one of those products.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to keep my eyes on the running back, Breece Hall, back there with the Jets. Now, this is a beast, all right? This is a guy that can run between the tackles, run behind the shoulder pads, but he also has the speed to hit the edge and be a home run threat. Now, I know the Dallas Cowboys have been good on the interior. I think they're only allowing, 3.1 or 2.6 yards per carry in the interior. So they're going to try to stretch that thing out with Breece Hall. For me, what I'm watching is make sure you contain him, keep him between those tackles, but also when you come to that second level and those linebackers in zone and man-to-man coverage on this guy, make sure you keep your eyes on Breece Hall because he's a part of the passing game as well, one of the better receiving backs in the National Football League. He can make you look foolish in a small space. So you got to keep your eyes on this man, whether in the running game or the passing game.
And also not to mention that read option, that RPO opportunity with a guy like Justin Fields. How tough is that from a defensive standpoint? Because Dallas has not been good in that communication element.
Yeah, it slows you down a lot, especially your guys on the edge. You can't just, pin your ears back and get after the quarterback because he's going to present that read option look to to you. So you got to think a little bit, and it'll slow you down. Plus, when it comes to Justin Fields, this is a guy with extreme speed out there that can capture the edge and get around the edge. Isaiah, you know a little bit about that read option.
Just a little bit.
He was before his time. You also got to watch out for that man right there, Garrett Wilson, who had a touchdown grab late in that game on Monday night against the Dolphins. Weapons there for the Jets as they try and get back on track. When we come back, Nick Eatman sat down with Stephen Jones. We go one-on-one with the Cowboys front office member next.
This segment was brought to you by the NFL Fan of the Year, presented by Captain Morgan. This segment is brought to you by Salvation Army, doing the most good.
When you look at the Jets, and I'm sure you've seen the highlight for the touchdown Justin Fields had, what scares you other than his legs on trying to contain him?
Yeah, he's just a great athlete playing quarterback, and he's a good quarterback too. But that's something we got to look at. I mean, obviously in the first game we went against Jalen Hurts, and he made some explosive plays, getting out of the pocket and running. Certainly we saw Love do it the other night, and it won't be any different against the Jets. I'm sure they'll look at that tape and they'll think they have some opportunities there, but we're going to continue to execute out here in practice at a high level, and then execute. What we need to do is take it to the game and make the plays we need to make, get the stops we need to make, and let this offense right now that's playing at a high level get those points. And the other thing is, which we did last week, is we protected the ball. The week before we didn't do that. What we do got to pick up a little bit, and it ended up making the difference, is we got to take the ball away. And certainly the sack fumble recovery there that led to a touchdown right before half was a big part of how we got back in that game.
You can catch the entire interview with Stephen Jones on DallasCowboys.com. The Cowboys hitting the road this week. Let's take a look at what they can do in New York City.
This segment was brought to you by Salvation Army, doing the most good. Closed captioning is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Dallas Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today. And to watch more Dallas Cowboys content on your connected TV, download the Cowboys Now app on Amazon Fire, Roku, and Apple TV. Special edition presented by AT&T was brought to you by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. And by AT&T, connecting changes everything.
The Cowboys heading to the Big Apple, where they've won plenty of games recently but have not defeated the Jets on the road since 2003. 3 of their next 4 games are on the road. They go to New York, to Carolina, and then after a home game against Washington, they play the Denver Broncos. All 3 of these guys have been in the NFL before. Barry, how do you attack a road-heavy schedule like this?
Well, as a team, you just got to continue to lock in and make sure that when you're on the road, you don't do anything to harm your team as far as penalties, because that'll set you way back. But for me personally, I used to love going to road games because it felt like, it was the world against you guys, and all you had was that locker room out there. So I love the road games out there, but you got to continue to lock in as a team.
Yeah, it's all about not making mistakes, not doing anything to set your team back, because you're already going to be dealing with the crowd noise. You're most likely going to have the disadvantage of the referees on the opposing side. But the one way you could take the wheel and the air out of the stadium is by having a solid running game and taking away their ability to run the game. I think if you do that offensively and defensively, controlling the trenches, you really have a bigger shot at taking care of business on the road.
These guys are giving you how to play the game, to prepare for it. But what you need to do with this type of schedule is make sure you're hydrated. Make sure you keep fluids in you, because you're getting on and off planes. Make sure you're in shape. And I'm talking about getting your injuries taken care of, your little knickknacks. And that way when you'll be prepared to do what these guys are talking about.
No, and all of that plays a factor. The Cowboys are 0-2 on the road. Of course, that tightly knit loss in Week 1 against Philadelphia, the not so tightly knit loss in Week 3 against the Chicago Bears. What do you want to see this team do better now that they attack this road schedule coming up?
I just want to see them be consistent. Offensively, they've been relatively consistent. Defensively, I want to see more consistency. We've seen flashes of good things from Eberflus's defense, but we need to see these guys get after it and have sustainable type production all throughout for all 4 quarters.
Yeah, for me, defensively, I would love for this team to, one, minimize the explosive plays. Go from, 8 to maybe 1 or 2 a game. And secondly, get after the quarterback. I mean, we've seen flashes of it last week against Green Bay. Make that more consistent and your defense will play better.
All right, Nate, what are you thinking? Who's going to win this week? Cowboys, Jets in week 5. We haven't heard a prediction from you in a couple weeks.
You know what? This thing has been wild for a long time. Up and down games, ties. But we're going to tie this thing. Not again, but by 1 point.
By 1 point. Got it done.
With a record-breaking.
There you go. Nate Newton, Barry Church, Isaiah Stanback. Thanks for watching. I'm Kyle Youmans. We'll see you next week.